Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mark with Limo Marketer here. I am joined today by Ken from Donovan's Limo out of Orlando. Thanks for hopping on with me, Ken.
Hey, my pleasure. Happy to do it.
Yeah, so Ken's been a client for a little over a year now, and we got to talking the other day, and I really like his business model. And so I asked him if he'd be kind enough to join me on here because I think there's a lot of learnings that can happen from kind of Ken's journey. And so I just kind of want to start from the beginning. What were you doing before, owning a limo company?
Well, in my previous life, I've worked my way up in management at Costco, did a lot of hiring, and I was also in the software industry. And so I was a project manager. So people, we would have big companies like your Tommy Bahamas, Levi Strauss. It was pretty much for the clothing industry. They would buy our software. I'm the guy that would go in and make sure that it was set up properly. And so sometimes it was 6 months, sometimes it was a year, but they were 100 million, 300 million, $1 billion corporations. So I did that for 15 years. I ran our West Coast division, but that kind of corporate stress, really has a toll, and so I'm not getting any younger. And I had never worked for myself. And it just so happened that we moved to Cocoa Beach in Florida in the Orlando market, and it dawned on me that I've got Disney World, Universal. We have rocket launches. I've got Port Canaveral. That's like a 5 iron from me right now. That's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I did a ton of research, and here I am a year and a half later.
Wow, interesting. Was there anything in particular that made you go the
With
limo route?
well, it's a kind of a funny story, and I'll keep it brief. About 20 years ago, I lived on the Jersey Shore for almost 20 years, and one of my best friends was getting married. And he goes, Ken, I don't want some old guy that I've never met marrying us. Will you be the officiant and do the wedding? And so I did, and then it was a success, and I enjoyed it. And so that was always in the back of my head to do something kind of on the side to marry people. See, you make about $300-400 a wedding. You do two of
Oh,
those
wow.
over a weekend. That would supplement your income when you retire. Well, then that morphed into, well, why don't I go out and buy a Sprinter and do mobile weddings where the wedding party would just rent the limousine and me, and we would go places, and I would marry them, and we would have champagne. And so I was going to be the first true mobile wedding.
I've never
And
even heard of that before.
yeah,
That's
write it
that's a,
down.
that's not a bad idea.
um, but then this is just post pandemic, and nobody could get a hold of a Sprinter chassis. And so I had already started doing the research in the limousines. And first you look at Google to see who your competition is. And of like the 10 websites, like 6 of them were dead. 2 of them had like 1-star review from 3 years ago, and there was only really two contenders. And so it was ripe.
And a
Orlando
huge
was
market, like massive and
it,
growing.
it's yes. And so I dove in head first. Thankfully, and I always say I got lucky by finding you, and in a way I did, but it was hundreds of hours of research, trying to find, because if you don't have marketing, you're nowhere. You
Yeah.
don't. You can think all night long that you're going to go out and you're going to put, you know, uh, staple your banner to trees and hand out business cards at the town fair. And when people are ready to book a limo, they're going through a list. They're traveling, right? And it's like, and they get to number 8 on the list, and it's book transportation. And they are not going to go to the next point on that list until transportation is booked. And
Yes.
so when they are ready to buy, they are going to buy now. And
Yes.
if you don't answer the phone, the next guy on the list will. And so I wanted to make sure that I was in their face. And so I came across you on Facebook, and I was just doing all kinds of, I belonged to like 10 other news groups, and I looked at your videos online. I learned, and because I was brand new,
Yeah.
just by watching like the first 3 videos. I was like, I couldn't write fast enough. My pencil tip was going to catch on fire. There were so many good ideas. And so we met, and here it is, almost a year and a half later, and I'm thrilled with the progress that we've made. I just hit my 120th five-star review. I'm very proud of that.
Wow. That's crazy. Oh,
Yeah,
that might be, yeah,
yeah,
that's incredible from nothing. I don't know if I've had any clients who've started from nothing with over
yeah,
100 right now.
yeah,
That's pretty incredible,
yeah,
but you're just consistent with
yeah.
always asking, right?
I am. I even though limousines, the business, I didn't know at all. I was always in the service industry, and it's one of those things where you can't teach somebody a sense of urgency. Sometimes it's got to be kind of ingrained in being able to offer good service because we're not Uber drivers.
Yes.
And so part of my growing up, I guess, in this industry was really kind of saying, all right, I need to be now a master at my trade. If I'm going to pass myself off as a luxury travel service, well then I better deliver. you
Yeah.
know and I mean, just going down to when you're driving, making sure that you have got smooth transitions and you don't take corners too fast and you stop 10 feet in front of the car in front of you. And if you're going to a venue or a hotel or a resort for the first time, the night before, I'm driving it on Google Maps because I always want to make sure I pull up so that the passengers can get out on the passenger side. And I'm not driving around a parking lot with people all dressed up, not
Yeah.
knowing where the entrance to a building is. I mean, it's just really kind of nuts and bolts to make an evening smooth, and I
Yeah, the
still
details. It's in the details,
it's
right?
in the details. It's as simple as bottled water, but
Yeah.
chilled bottled water.
Yes. Yes.
They get off an airplane, they've huffed it, 800 yards, with their carry on. They're frazzled. They get in the car, when that Cadillac shuts. I mean, it's quiet and it's just the smell of leather, maybe a little Frank Sinatra, depending on their age. I've
Yeah.
got all, any station they're looking for. Country Western, we got it. You want dance music, you want electron, I've got them all at my fingertips just to make it better. And so that door closes, they sink into the leather seats, they've got chilled water, and it's like, finally, I'm on vacation.
Wow.
It's
That's
uh it's a lot of fun. It
everyone
really
watching this, that right there, what he described, what like their senses, cool, comfortable, smells good,
you
um,
know and it's also because I was always in my previous life as a project manager. A lot of times, the company was going to spend $5 to $10 million on software, and they want to know who the guy is or girl, who's going to be running this project. And so they would offer me up, and I would be in there with some of the end of the sales meetings. And in sales, it's you have to be able to read a room,
yeah,
right? And how I've been able to translate that is, is it, first of all, is it 3 o'clock in the morning and they're still sleeping, and
yeah,
I've been up for 2 hours, right? And so I don't want to just hit them with blah, 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 blah. They're not
yes,
even human yet. If I'm taking, who is it? Is it, a family with 3 kids with Disney ears on? It's the first time they're going on a cruise. Well, that's a completely different ride than the guy, the business traveler that books me for a 3-hour ride sometimes up to the Jacksonville airport. That guy wants to work. And I
yeah,
have to be able to be personable enough for them to enjoy it and feel comfortable in my vehicle because they're a guest. It can be awkward. And know when to shut the hell up and let them stay on their cell phone or do whatever they want. And so that's an acquired skill, and thankfully I have it. So it's all about the experience. But I got to tell you though, your software, one of the prime things that I went with you is that your software has a ton of automation. And you're talking to the software king right here. I mean, and I can show you some screenshots of stuff that I do. I've taken the software that you've given me, and I put my hat on, and I've built some things where
I'm gonna
I've
have
got
to see it
yeah.
because I
So
saw it a few months ago and I was like, whoa, okay, you're using way more features than
I've got all
anyone
these
else.
people now, and so
Yeah,
customer wants to know, like, if I've got a Cadillac XTS sedan versus the CT6, people don't know that. And so I've got a nice picture of the outside of it and a nice picture of the inside. So immediately when I say, I've got templates for all my quotes, right? And I've got
yeah,
them, by, my driver one, driver two, driver three, or driver two, a sedan, Tesla, Suburban, and so whatever they're looking for. I just, when I'm on the road, when I don't do it when I'm driving, but I'll stop, I'll be at the airport, and I can do quotes
Boom.
in minutes. Boom, boom, boom. And the templates are already done. But then there's the actual automated follow-ups that your software, the triggers. And that
Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you how impressed people are with that. And they go, look, Ken, and my regulars, they're like, Ken, you have made it so smooth and so easy to take my money. And I
Yeah.
said, well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make your life easier. Don't, your life is already complex. You want to get through having to book transportation.
Yeah.
I'm the easy guy. You have
Yes.
changes, no problem. And that's what keeps them coming back. That's what I love about
Wow.
it too.
Yeah. So many lessons there. And I love it that you spent the time because it takes a little time to set it up and dial it in all your templates. But
Yeah.
I mean, how much time does that save you in the long run?
Oh my God. I mean, and even now I've got a list of about 4 or 5 more that I want to do, of the things that I'm constantly typing. Like I do.
Constantly. Exactly. Yep.
I'm like, why am I doing this again? What are you, stupid? You do it once. And and the thing is when you do a template once, it's so important to hit the right notes and the right feeling. It's not just something you go into lightly. You've got to kind of
Yeah.
come off as professional, but a little lighthearted, and for different
Yeah.
things. And so you're able to kind of paint this picture just in the way you present it. And then it's just a matter of, like me, I've got with quotes, I just have, we're pleased to give you, our one-way cost is, and I just have a dollar sign with XXX.XX. And all I do is go in, click on the X's, backspace, 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 backspace,
Yep.
you know,
Change up.
$350, send. And they've had it in 3 minutes, you know.
Yeah. No, that's
And so the automation was king. And a lot of people say that. And people don't, if anybody out there who's using this software, what is it, high level, high
high level.
energy,
Correct. High
high
level.
level.
Yes.
Um, if you are not fully using it, you're just missing out on the power that it has to bring to the table. It's there. Spend the time, and do it. I,
Yeah.
you
For
know,
for the cost of sending these text messages, it's almost nothing.
yeah,
And yes, it does take a little you have to learn how to use it, but once you do, it makes you
it's
so
so
much
easy.
more efficient,
Yeah.
and it just supercharges your sales and marketing efforts.
Yeah. I mean, I've got one that says Orlando arrival, because one of the services I provide is the day before I reach out to you via text, just, hey, it's Ken, just touching base. Tomorrow I'll be tracking your flight, and that's what I do. If it's delayed, I'll be there regardless of time, so don't worry. And when you land, you'll have a text from me on where to meet me inside the terminal. We'll grab your bags and off we go. And so, at that point, I've got multiple apps. I've got one for Orlando. So this morning, I had a 8 a.m., 8:40 a.m. Southwest Airlines. I know it's Terminal A. Your bags are in Terminal. Delete X, put capital A, and your bags are at carriage number 14.
Oh,
You know,
wow, so you even have templates for all of that.
yeah.
Wow.
And then it's just a second, and then it says, make your way down to the escalators on the second floor. I'll be at the bottom of the escalators with a yellow sign, and I have yellow in caps. And
Yeah.
so I don't have it with me. I've got an iPad that's got a yellow background because I want to stand
Ah.
out.
Yeah, no,
Right,
that's
all the other schmucks are standing around with white ones, or in crayon. Hey, my name's Bill.
yeah.
And if they're frazzled, they got 6 kids. They've been traveling from Austria or whatever. A lot of times, it's in capital letters, yellow. And if that's all they remember, then they see me.
Yeah.
And and so I've got yeah, I got templates for everything. But there's more
That's
on that. You
yeah,
know,
I'm sure. So what I keep hearing from everything you're telling me is you're just so focused on these small details. But all of these things add up. That's why you have so many five-star reviews.
yeah,
Peace of mind. They're getting a text the day before. Little things like that matter
yeah,
a lot. They don't want to be wondering, oh, hey, what's the next step? What am I going to have to
yeah.
do?
Yeah, and I beat myself up over the details because I normally wait until like 9 a.m. the day before to text people just to confirm the next day. But
Yeah.
there's some people that are like up at 7 and at 8:49 they're like, "Are you picking me up tomorrow?" I'm like, "Bah!" You know,
Yeah, yeah.
8 minutes, I would have been there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, totally, totally. And so your business model, I really like it, especially in our current economic environment where capital is not cheap like it used to be. And so
oh
right
yeah,
now, what is your vehicle? And
yeah.
tell people about kind of what your business model is like as far as.
Yeah, so you kind of have to decide on where you want to take this. Do you want to be just a single operator, uh, and drive, and that's fine, or do you want to be king of all creation and have a fleet of 50 vehicles and drivers? With me, I've managed hundreds of people at a time, and that's not for me.
Yeah,
Having employees, once you start bringing on employees, then there's payroll and payroll taxes, and when you start dealing with all of these human emotions and how come he can wear that and I can't, and it's just,
yeah,
and so from the beginning, well, I'm no spring chicken. I'm 58 now. And so I want to retire in, 65 or something. And so my intent here was to grow this business to a point where then I could just kind of take a back seat, manage it, or
yes,
maybe not pay somebody to manage it, but be involved and supplement, our retirement, because, I've got a good accountant. That's another thing. Get yourself an accountant. Don't guess.
yeah,
Um, and so to be able to supplement our retirement, and for that, we'll be, according to all of my charts and graphs, we'll be doing, we'll be doing good, but it's getting there. So I started, so my intent was to be able to start small. Um, if I brought on more vehicles and maybe one or two drivers, it would be not more than three,
yeah,
um, but what I decided though is, so I went out, I got a great deal. This was just post pandemic because I did it, I bought it in November of 2021. And I just, when I couldn't get Mercedes, chassis, the local Cadillac dealership had a black on black Cadillac ESV, the extended one that'll fit everything in there just about within reason. And
right.
it was a 7-seater. And so the second row didn't have the two captain seats. It's a bench seat. So I can seat 7 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so that was kind of my, the universe saying, here, and I got to tell you, it was 2019 certified pre-owned. It was a great price, and back then I think I financed it for like 3%. And this was
Yeah,
before, yeah, and so it was like free money,
yeah,
and so that just kind of fell in my lap. Now since then, I put 35,000 miles on it a year, and so that's not, I can't keep doing that. And so, what to do? Do I go out and buy another vehicle? Well, why? Why spend that capitalized cost to try and recoup it? I'm only one person. I can only drive one at a time. And so right now I've got 5 people working for me. Um,
wow.
and I farm it out. And so I've got, it's 2019 Cadillac Escalade. I love it. I'm never buying a small car again. um, and because that thing, man, and it's got the road. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's gorgeous.
Sweet.
Um, but so on the landing page that you created for me,
Yeah.
at first I was like, well, no, I just want the Escalade, and you canceled me against it. You're like, well, hold on, man, you're selling yourself short. And so so now there's Escalades, and so I've got now 5 people that are their own independents, and one of my talents, I guess, is finding talent, right?
That's a huge talent. That's
so
one of the best talents, right?
yeah, and so in my previous life, I used to do a ton of interviewing for especially when I worked at Costco, and then even with in my software days, I could get to a point now where I'm so good at it. When somebody even walks towards me for the interview, I can tell whether or not I'm going to hire them just by the way they approach me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you're driving, like I'll have people that I take out to dinner, and so it's an anniversary or a wedding, 4 or 5 people, and they want to go to a nice restaurant out in, like, in Orlando. And there's a ton of them, and so they'll come from Merritt Island or Cocoa. We'll drive out there. It's an hour, and then I've got about 2.5 hours to kill while they have dinner. And so guess where all the drivers are? Well, we're at 7-Eleven drinking coffee, or
Um,
Wawa or whatever. Name your coffee place, Starbucks. And so that's especially on a Friday and Saturday night, that's where all the drivers are hanging out. So you chit chat with them, and if somebody stands out to me, if they present themselves well, they're well spoken. You can tell that they care about how they present themselves. how their vehicle is, because I'll look inside their vehicle and ooh, oh wow, this is a Lincoln. Okay, mine's an Escalade. Mine's a Cadillac. And when people impress me, I'll give them my business card and kind of take them in under my wing,
Yeah.
because it's surprising how many people are on the I call it the dark side, with Uber Black. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you're just gonna let the family with get into your car from the airport with the three kids, and they got peanut butter, and one's got snotty snot coming out of his nose, and you got sit in your leather vehicle. I'm like, no. And so I
Yeah.
take them under the wing, and so I've increased my marketing ad with you, and so I'm kind of I would say I'm the daddy Warbucks now, but I'm the giver of of, hey, I've got
Yeah.
this. What can you do? What are your rates from Winter Park to Orlando at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday? Are you available? Are you available? Are you available? And then I'll take a cut of that. And so
Nice.
I've been able to kind of and this is just I worked with two people for quite a while now. I've got more, and so I'm just kind of spreading it out. You don't want to have too many eggs in one basket,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah. Totally.
I'm able to kind of to spread it out, and so it's kind of early to tell. It just so happens like this past, especially in our market, this past month has been a little slow, only because it's after the kids' spring break and it's before
Sure. No,
school is let out.
it's always a little slow this time of year in the Orlando or
Um, but
Florida
I
in
got to tell you,
general.
that changed yesterday for me. I mean, I got home and my phone was ringing. I'm trying to answer texts. My emails are going off. And so it's back. And you just have to be able to trust, that it's going
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and so I've just been asking a ton, boom, are you available? Are you available? You're not available. Are you available? And so
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of ride this out. I'll put less miles on it. I put 35,000 miles on that vehicle last year, and I
Yeah.
had to take a knee and
Yeah.
I had to talk with myself, and so yeah, so that's where it's at right now.
Cool. How much do you drive these days?
Quite a bit. Um, it's the Orlando market is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
And you've got some big companies that have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm coming from the East Coast. So just logistically, it's 40 minutes for me just to get to the airport. So anything and I'm coming from the East Coast, um, and so if I have to get to the airport, and they need a pickup on the west side of
Oh,
Orlando, then
just going all the way
there's
over.
like there's this whole northwest area kind of that I'm uh, too expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're in the southeast of Orlando, right? And
Yeah,
so, yeah, that would be the other way across town,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But the good news is I've got no competition on my side, right? And so I blow everybody away that wants to go down, go up to like Jacksonville, Daytona, even down
Yeah,
to like Stewart, Vero Beach, which is south of us. And there's a ton of money down there. I mean, you see some of these houses,
yeah,
and I command a pretty penny, and get it
yeah,
and so I love to drive. I always have,
yeah.
and as anybody that drives for a living, you work some crazy hours, and so there are times where my alarm is going off at 2 o'clock in the morning, for me to have a 4:30 pickup, because I'm not 22 anymore where I could stay up all night long partying and then be at work at 6 in the morning. I need at least 90 minutes to figure out that I'm a human being with my coffee
Yeah,
or breakfast,
totally.
you know.
Exactly.
And you, new dad, congratulations.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, it's very time consuming.
Thank
Yeah, just a little, just a little.
you. But I enjoy that quiet time at night. The roads are quiet. I've got 2.5 acres of leather and the 12,
Yeah,
a 12 speaker Dolby sound system. And
it's a
believe it or
nice
not,
ride.
I listen to classical music. A lot of times it soothes me, soothes the
Yeah,
beast. Or sometimes it's the heavy metal station. But I enjoy that quiet time at night. It's serene, and so
yeah,
you can have the dew and the mist and the fog sometimes. Florida's beautiful. You'd be surprised. Everybody thinks, of beaches, but the interior, there's so many of the towns that are just like small town Americana where you think they're in like Ohio. I mean, they're quite gorgeous. And so,
interesting.
I like to drive, and I love to drive the kids that are going to Disney. because I'm
Oh,
really, I said I was 58. Well, I'm kind of lying because I'm really about 9 years old. Especially the first time that they're going to on a Disney cruise, right? And
oh
so
yeah,
there's a part where you come in and there's two big bridges that go in, and on the top of one bridge you can see the cruise ships, and they're like right there, and it's almost shocking. And
yeah.
but the kids are there, and I'm like, "You ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?" It's just like ah, and then they're like, "Yay!" and I'm like, "Yay!" So it's
That's awesome.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it really is.
And you started recently. By the way, I think this is a brilliant idea and it will take a little time to grow, but that's a brilliant idea. Ken started a YouTube channel
Oh yeah.
recently. And so how does it work? I'm guessing you just let them know you have a YouTube channel or how
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
okay, nice.
Yeah.
And they're like,
So
cool.
it's kind of funny how that started. This started about 9 months ago, and I'm kind of prolific on Facebook, um, and just I know one of my friends just shouted out on a random Tuesday morning at like 8. They went like 217 days until Disney, yay!
Yeah.
And I was like, man, aren't you a freak? But then it dawned on me, the people that go to Disney and Universal, they must spend 100 hours a year research on TripAdvisor, on the
Oh
portals.
yeah,
There's a ton. I
totally.
mean, you wouldn't believe the Dis. Should we stay at the Riviera this year, or should we do the Polynesian, or even the cruise ships? Is the Disney Fantasy better than the Disney Wish? And they just soak up so much information just because we have access to it. We've got our cell phones with us all the time. Any down moment, and you
Totally.
see everybody walking around the world. And if they're going planning a vacation in 6 months or 3 months or 2 months, they want to know. I mean, if they could, they would talk to the chef on a Disney cruise. If they could,
Oh,
and so
totally.
all of these reviews. And so I remember being old school and an old guy. They used to have this show on HBO called Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Right, that one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you weren't supposed to watch it if you
Yeah,
didn't.
no,
Right,
exactly.
okay, but you wanted to anyway. So
Yeah, exactly.
that and Cash Cab, and that's a big joke that's in the when I get them in the car, they're like, "This is like Cash Cab," and I go, "Yeah, except there's no cash." I said, "In fact, I've got a button up here, and if I press it, you get launched out the window." Everybody knows, because I'm a big ham. And so I put those two together, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, these people are spending hundreds of hours a year doing research. Uh, um, and YouTube is absolutely one of those things that they look at.
Yeah,
Besides
oh,
TripAdvisor, besides Yahoo reviews,
I'm surprised I haven't heard of anyone else
right? And
doing that.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, I was pretty proud of myself. But that in itself was it was 9 months ago. I just launched my channel Memorial Day weekend, and it was a lot harder than I expected. It was daunting, because and I'm king of software, but editing software is a whole different animal. But
Yeah.
it's like you need an intro, you need equipment,
Yep.
uh, what do you get? And I found that it wasn't the video was easy. It was the audio, because now you're in a car. There's ambient road noise. There's wind noise. I've got a 7-year-old that's all the way in the back. Can I hear him? So it was all about audio. Thank God, my wife, God love her, she was a guinea pig for. I'm like, all right, let's go to lunch. And she's like, you gonna make me sit in the back again? I'm like, yep, yep. So, um,
That's great.
but yeah, and so I wanted to launch. Well, I wanted to do it, one, because it was fun. Two, because it's kind of a self-serving. It would hopefully drive business to my limo business, and
Yeah.
then you also get hopefully passive income from the channel itself. And why not? And
Yeah.
so it took me a long time to do it. Learning it. And so when I launched it, I wanted to have at least 6 videos. I didn't want to have just one 3-minute video and everybody goes, ah, okay, that's it. So I had 6 videos. I have 7 up now. I've got 8. The 8th one, I call it in the can. That's Hollywood speak now. It's in the can. I'm editing it right now. And we'll say it's called Resort Fans. So
Nice.
yeah.
No, I
So
think it's
I've got,
great,
yeah,
especially if you get linked to from like TripAdvisor. Like eventually that's going to happen where you get picked up and then you will become the go-to
yeah,
guy for
yeah,
these things.
yeah,
And by the way, I think a lot of companies should be, especially if you live like in a resort area, people are going to have fun. Now, if it's some business executive and you're picking them up at JFK to go to Manhattan,
Yeah.
maybe not that guy, but
Yeah.
this is the perfect place, I think, to do something like this because of exactly what you said. They're researching it, right? Hundreds of hours, most
Yeah.
likely. They're going to research their ride as well.
Yeah.
And you can become their go-to guy because they can actually see for themselves what it's like.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's basically just the family. When I drive them back to the airport, I interview them. What did you like? What, 1 to 5 stars. Did you like the food? What was your best meal? What was your worst meal? What do you remember most on the cruise ships? What ports did you go to? What excursions? What did you like? What did you not like? And it's what tips and tricks could you give somebody
Oh,
to
that's
stick with that?
brilliant. Yes, I
What
like that.
and so it's not just about the ride. It's about where you get. It's not about the ride at all. That just happens to be the venue. It's them giving their reviews. The first one I did was Disney's Riviera Resort, which is one of the best. And then I had Carnival Magic, right? That's my best one. It's gotten in 2 weeks. It's gotten almost 500 views.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah. And so it's yeah.
Okay, I'm blown away. That's incredible. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I've had a YouTube channel 4 years, and my videos rarely ever get a few
yeah.
hundred views. That's
Well, it's it's
wild.
it's all about keywords, my friend.
Yeah,
And the searches. And so people, I mean, I'm like, Port Canaveral, Port Canaveral, cruise ship,
yeah, yeah.
Disney, resort, magic, all of them, anything. It was just like this free form ideas.
It's
And
almost like a review channel,
it's a
like
review.
an
It's been
in-person review. It's
straight from the guest's mouth, and they just came from it. And we're driving back to the airport, so it's me driving.
yeah,
And
and really, you're like it's a sponsored review, sponsored by Donovan's Limo. That's essentially what it is. That's why I think it's so brilliant.
yeah,
Wow.
thank you.
I think that's going to take off, man. And who knows, you might not even need to do, any online marketing at some point, because that might keep you so
Yeah.
busy, man. I
Well,
mean,
my next thing is I spent so much time doing that. I haven't finished my website, and so I'm because I started working in what is it, the hard one, WordPress, because I think I'm a software guru, and that was interesting. But I think it looks pretty good. I'll show it to you if we want to go
yeah,
through.
no, I'd love to check it out.
And
So,
home of resort fans. I haven't put that in there yet, but
oh, that's the name of your YouTube channel, Resort Fans.
yeah,
Nice. Oh man, you're gonna crush it with this. I think
I
more
hope.
companies should do stuff like this because it's all about social media these days, right?
Yeah,
You got to be
yeah,
even for myself, my own business. Most of my clients now come from YouTube,
yeah, yeah.
and so it's just such a great platform. And you're already doing the rides. It's like there's a little
Exactly.
video editing, but at some point, if you want, you could even hand that off. You can
Yeah,
get someone for, probably $20 a video, $30 a
yeah.
video to do some simple edits. But it's good to
Yeah,
learn how to do it yourself a little bit too.
yeah, yeah. And I make the rookie mistakes, and now I know what it's like to be Steven Spielberg, when you don't get the shot, because there's been times where like I've got a camera going and the suction cup just falls off, and here I am, it's in it's on the passenger side in front, and I'm driving, you know what I mean, and so
Yeah.
can't get you once it's good, they're getting on an airplane, they're going, you've lost it,
Yeah.
This is all kinds of rookie mistakes that I've made, but you learn, and here's what I found in life is that a lot of people don't do something because they feel like they've got to be 100% prepared. And
Right.
and it's all about, if I do this, then I can do that. If this happens, then I can do that. And people just miss out on life. And
Yeah.
so, quite honestly, I mean, I've gained more weight than ever in my, this is the worst I've ever looked in my entire life. And the first 2 times I came back, and I was thrilled that I had the GoPro and I had the footage and I uploaded it. And 40 minutes later, yeah, large files. You learn how to work with really large files because they're like 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I get the very first footage back, and I'm, on inside, I feel like Antonio Banderas, but I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I can't put that out there. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to disappear in my room, put a, put the
It's funny.
cover sheet over
Everyone
my
thinks
head, make
that.
the room dark for a week.
Yeah. Everyone thinks
Yeah,
that when you're uploading your first videos, it's like, I don't know, just putting video of you out there on the internet, like,
yeah,
too bad more people aren't comfortable with it, but it's almost the ones that are, it's almost a good thing for us because
yeah,
I'm telling you, just getting any sort of following on social media
Yeah.
is so incredibly valuable,
Yeah.
especially if you can monetize it with a
Yeah.
business like you're doing, like I'm doing. And so, love that idea, Ken. What would you say like is as far as like something that has happened that you didn't expect? Like, what are some unexpected like
Sure.
benefits in getting into this industry that you didn't maybe foresee?
That's a good question. I didn't think I would enjoy. The weirdest thing when you first start out, it's really weird having a stranger in your car. Yeah, it takes
Oh,
a week or two,
yeah,
because it's weird. You got to get over it. It's kind of strange, but then it's like then you treat him as a guest. You know, learning it's all about new things, learning new things, being a business owner for the first time, having a professional accountant for the first
yeah.
um, all of the permitting, I mean, every municipality, um,
Lots
has
of research, I'm sure, right? Just
tons
gobs
of
and
research,
gobs. Yeah,
and it's just a huge chunks of learning curve, like in Florida, every municipality is trying to pick your pocket, like
yeah.
if I want to pick up at Melbourne Airport, I gotta pay their township and their council and and they want my vehicle inspected at their place. It's like $80 here,
Wow.
$100 here, and it's everybody's picking your pocket.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean that's some of the negative stuff. It's just the way business is, and it's learning, and there are downfalls to it too. I'm lucky because my wife she's got a big brain, and so she works in the healthcare industry, and so she's been my anchor with us starting out, with
oh, awesome.
doing this. Yeah, she's the best. She really is, and yeah, just kind of, I mean, I just had a problem with my Escalade. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens. It was down. I had people. It was 5 o'clock in the morning. It was dark outside. I'm driving them down from Daytona, and 2 hours or 20 minutes out from the airport. My check engine light's on.
Oh, shoot.
And so you get you don't let them know that you're sweating, and I got them off. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then they came out to greet me, and I knew when the GM was there that it was not good news. You know what I mean? It was almost like, sir, you have cancer. And
Yeah.
they're like, your transmissions in 4,000 pieces back there. And of course there's a part that's on galactic back order. And
Oh,
so but they
shoot.
were able to, and so all of a sudden, just in the way that I bring in money, because I have people that 2 weeks before that vehicle moves, I'm paid. You're right.
Yeah,
And so I have the money. So it's almost like a negative AR, right? So the money's already in the bank. Now I've got it situated so that at any given time I know what my cash flow is, because I know what my outlay is, especially because I pay my affiliates. The minute they text me to say they're dropped off, they're paid within 10 minutes, unless I'm driving,
yeah.
So
That's huge. Yeah,
you have to treat people well. you,
yeah,
you got to go to the end of their, because then they'll be loyal to you, and
yes.
it's great. And so that's, and so, if I'm down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm
I'm
now
sure.
being able to cover, because thank God I've got, you know, people working for me,
Of
but,
course.
but now they're getting paid and I'm
Yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah. You're making a lot less, a whole lot less. Yeah,
and so, it's dicey, it's not all, candy canes, cotton candy, unicorns, and bubble gum. It's
yeah,
there are some really, really nuts and bolts things that you got to prepare yourself. The realities of owning a business.
yeah. I like your model though with the IOs, the independent operators, rather than employees, because yeah, there's just so many additional things that come with having
Workers
employees.
comp. I
Yes.
sprained an ankle.
Yeah.
And they're motivated. Because
Yeah.
they want to make money. It's their
Yeah.
business. That's
Yeah.
their business. And so I really, really, I can't complain. It has been It is, I mean, even with the YouTube channel, that was kind of a satisfying something that I did for myself, because it took me so long to kind of do it, and it was just hours every night, and so that was kind of satisfying. But you know, owning my own business has its own really deep satisfaction, because everybody complains about this boss, and they don't listen to me, and he makes all the money, and believe me, it's not all roses. It's not roses,
Yeah. And you said this
because
is your first one, right? Your
yeah,
first.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so, you wake up on the first of the month and you've got to make X number of $1,000 until your head is just level. Then the
Yeah.
rest is yours, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. You know what I mean? It's like the
Sure.
first $5,000 is already spent, or
Yeah. Yeah.
saved,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. And
Whatever's
you're
left
fixed.
over, then
Right.
right. But you don't want to spend it though because you put it in savings because your car might blow up or something might happen. You just don't know.
Yeah. 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 You always want to have a cushion,
You know,
right?
yeah. And so
Cool.
it's rewarding though. It really is. I highly recommend it. And anybody that's listening to this that's on the fence about Mark, the guy, he's a straight shooter. Um, and not only does he always believe in kind of the letter of the law, in the spirit of the law, and he's just it's good. I've had a really really good experience with him. I've never had a negative thing. Um,
Thanks so much, Ken. I really appreciate that, man.
yeah,
Yeah, it's great. When I started out, it was with a lot of larger companies, and
yeah,
now it's funny. I migrated, and it's rewarding seeing someone go from just
yeah,
starting like you, just
yeah,
figuring it out the ropes. And I always want like I can usually tell pretty early on if they're going to do well because they're like you're detail oriented. You're making sure everything's right. Like with the software, when I saw what you did with it, I'm like, no wonder this guy's crushing it because like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just you spend the time, right? And it can be a pain and no one likes, it's not always fun learning new complicated things, but if you spend the time, it really you get the return. Just like with this YouTube channel, I'm sure it was a pain getting it all set up, but now that it's rolling and
yeah.
you're creating videos, I guarantee you, if you're already getting 500 views on some of your videos, I guarantee you in a year or two, you're going to get the majority of your business from this channel. And
Yeah, that'd be
brilliant
awesome.
idea.
Actually, the very first day that I went live with you, I got $1,000 booking. The very first day.
No way. Not from the
I'll never forget it. I went live December 15th. It was 15th or 16th, 2021. And I remember that date because that was the day that I had to go to MCO Airport, Orlando International Airport, um, for a seminar, for my orientation
yeah.
with my name tag and my Snoopy lunchbox, and I'm there with all the other guys. And I knew at like 9:15 a.m. because you had texted me before, and like, yeah, tomorrow about 9:15 you'll be up and running. And so right at 9:15, I'm like looking, like nothing yet. Like you look at like every 30 seconds. How about now? How about now? And we broke for lunch, and about 12:15, I went out to my car, and I had my first hit, and it was a guy who had moved his family to. He was the senior vice president of sales for Hilton Properties. He ran
Oh,
all of their
wow.
sales teams,
You gotta be
and he
kidding.
was looking to go to Andrea. I was yeah, and he did a Google search. He searched, I forget what it was, limo drivers or limousines near me. He was one of
Yeah.
those keywords, and it was him, his wife, and his parents were going to go see Andrea Bocelli over
Andrea Bocelli.
at
Yeah, I've seen
the
him.
Ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and so they wanted to do a nice dinner and everything, and I gave him a great deal. But it was like it was like $1,000, and he tipped me $200, and I did that like 3 or 4 days later. You bet.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was, I was like, wait a minute, it was great. Yeah, I was nervous, I was terrified. I was there like an hour early. I
That's
drove the whole thing 3 times on Google Earth.
that's awesome. Well, hey, preparation is key, man, and it just goes to show it's working. Well, Ken, I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for doing this. I'm sure anyone who watches this video is gonna learn a lot. Just being detail oriented and really, it's about the experience. If you want to charge, premium rates, well, are you delivering? Are you detail oriented? If you go to like a Four Seasons, which I don't know if I've ever been to a Four Seasons, but I've been to some nice hotels, and it's always in the details,
yeah,
cold water, things like that. So
yeah.
thanks so much for doing this, Ken.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right.
Good
Talk
luck,
to you
guys.
later.